Summer just got hotter with ABC's new upstairs downstairs soap opera, Grand Hotel. A lot of very attractive people fighting over property on this show. Tara and I both watched the pilot. We have plenty of thoughts, and we're going to give you all of them right after this.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to TV Pilot Reviews here on AfterBuzz TV. You guys got a little peek behind the curtain there because my co-host Tara very conscientiously has our chat pulled up, which I appreciate.
We are here and ready to chat, guys. So, so join us. I'll be glancing at it throughout.
If you heard an echo, there was an echo.
There was.
Unfortunately, my annoying voice got played twice over our speakers, but that annoying voice comes from me, guys. My name is Jeff Graham. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as I mentioned, I'm here with the always hilarious and always insightful Tara Erickson.
Oh, wow. What a good intro. Yes. Hi, guys. I'm Tara Erickson.
If this is your guys' first time tuning into TV Pilot Reviews, this is a show where we review Hollywood's hottest new pilots. To be clear, we are not an after show. All we do is review pilots. So week after week, we have a new show we're discussing, and it's always the first episode of that show. ABC's new, I think, hopeful cash cow for the summer is Grand Hotel. Whew. It's airing in a very nice time slot right after a little show called The Bachelorette.
Oh, hey.
Heard of that
Have I heard of it? Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. So they're off to, we'll get into it, they're off to a not great start ratings-wise compared to their time slot, but we're going to be reviewing our thoughts on the quality of the pilot during the show today. It's executive produced by Eva Longoria, which is kind of cool.
Hey, girl.
And as I mentioned, it's kind of a family saga about the ownership and potentially shady antics and sexy hookups happening at a Miami-based hotel.
Oh, yeah. The drama is there.
The tea is hot, as they say.
It's so good.
At the Grand Hotel. So in terms of this show, guys, there's going to be two sections overall. One is going to be a non-spoiler section, so if you want to hear our thoughts on the show without knowing too many details, this is a great time to tune in. At a certain point, we will be getting more specific for those of you who have seen the episode and want to hear some specific thoughts. Before we get into that section, though, we will cue a spoiler alert, so you will know when to tune out. We'll also be giving you our pass or play, letting you know whether or not we think you should watch. We'll be comparing it to some other shows, giving you some development history. There's some really exciting stuff coming down the line.
I'm excited.
Also, I want to shout out our producer, Jennifer Lopez. I'm having her open the show for us because she's seen the pilot as well. And we're going to, all three of us, give you our overall thoughts on the show and our pass or play. Tara, I'm going to have you start. How did you feel about the pilot to Grand Hotel?
Yes, I loved it. I was hooked within the first 20 minutes. The way that it's shot, specifically from the beginning, it didn't remind me of a lot of TV shows. It was shot in a more interesting way. It kind of grabbed me as more, though, of they could probably push it to Showtime, or if there was a little more there would be language and nudity then. But there's some racy stuff in here that I was like, good for you, ABC. And I was very engaged, and I thought the writing was really good and not as corny as I would have expected.
Yeah.
So I was there and I was in it, and I was like, ooh, drama right off the bat.
I agree. It did kind of have a premium cable feel, but on a network. I think ABC did a nice job of borrowing even the sort of color palette and cinematography of a lot of prestige TV.
Yeah.
While still giving us a pretty classic network drama. So I have to applaud them. It's funny. I also liked the fact that it was a little more grounded than I expected it to be. But there were also some times when I wish they would have turned up the ridiculousness just a little bit. I'm like, is this show taking itself seriously or is it not? For the most part, though, I think it's walking that tightrope pretty well. And one thing I have to applaud this pilot on that we'll get into is it's an ensemble show. There's probably 10 significant characters we were introduced to in this pilot. I think they did a really nice job justifying why each of them were in this episode.
Yeah, I felt like when I was watching it, I was like, oh, I know exactly who she is and who he is. I wasn't lost at all at any point. And I think that's a pretty good feat, especially when you just have 50 minutes.
Right.
They did a really good job on that. Or 42, right? Or a lot shorter than that. And we got through a lot, and I felt like with the few lines that they gave them, even if it's just 5 lines, you're like, I know exactly who you are.
It reminded me of, it's interesting, Netflix is doing a lot more of these sort of middling hour-long dramas, shows like What If or The Society, recent shows that are coming out that tend to be between 55 and 65 minutes for these pilots. And it showed me there is something elegant about managing to tell a complete full episode of TV in 42 minutes.
Yep.
And I think this pilot did it pretty well. And
I think did a great job.
Yeah. I think our producer Jennifer disagrees a little bit. So, J-Lo, let us know your thoughts on the pilot to Grand Hotel. Real quick, I just want to make sure you're patched in, Jayla. You cut out for a minute, so before you hop in, just double.
Hey guys.
There we go. Yeah.
Perfect. Hey guys. So for me, I feel that the show needed a little bit more spice to it. You know, I feel setting in Miami, I feel like I wanted that drama. I wanted more of that sexy feel of the show, especially how it was being promoted. So I really wanted a little bit more of that just to get me in hooked in a little bit more from the very beginning. But I don't know, that's just me. I kind of like that drama stuff.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, J-Lo, you are a Latinxer. This show is following a lot of Latinxers. You have experience with the sort of like heightened telenovela feel that a lot of that this show is kind of paying tribute to. And I do think a lot of those shows tend to amp up the soapiness more. It sounds like that's kind of what you wanted.
Yeah, see, personally, I grew up watching telenovelas, so definitely I think that's why I'm so used to it. But I also have to understand that the characters are trying to sometimes get away from that, especially Rosalind Sanchez. I know she, you know, a long time ago, she did play in a little bit of novelas when she first started as an actress. So I know she did kind of wanted to stay away from that. And a lot of these actors, Latino actors, want to really get away from that and be known as, you know, American, cross over to the American acting world, especially in Hollywood. So
yeah, kind of be taken more as, quote, serious actors.
Serious actors, correct. Because, you know, they got to work extra harder and stuff. So I can see why they would want to face off, and Eva Longoria kind of facing off that, you know, that kind of
the stereotype of the. That's a really interesting take, and I'm glad we have your perspective on that. I do have to say, though, I was obsessed with Rosalind Sanchez in this pilot.
Yeah.
She's very magnetic.
Oh, yeah. I love just like watching her and her character. Good setup.
We'll get more into character specifics, but in general, I found all of these actors. One, I mean, just objectively, so good looking.
Oh, God.
In a very cool way, barely any white actors. And I appreciated it because it was in a way that did not feel like it was...
forced.
Yeah, like dutiful diversity. It was like, yeah, this would be a completely Latin environment. And it played in such a naturalistic way. This is how diversity should be done on TV.
I agree. Unnoticeable.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what they did. I thought it was great.
Totally. And in general, I think all of these actors are doing their job, you know?
Oh, yeah. And even with the telenovela, I mean, those gigs are like hard. I mean, the soap opera feel, a little bit of it is in this show. Still, I felt that way. But I realized that, like, in those shows, they have to memorize, like, 20 pages in one day and then do it. So I assume from the crossover of here, it's like they maybe shoot 8 pages a day and they get a lot more takes. It's not just like one take, see you later.
For sure.
So I'm kind of excited to see a lot of these, some of the actors that she mentioned sort of flourish in this type of environment with this script. Even though it has a little bit of that edge to it.
It does.
It is still a lot more grounded with more room to play, I think, as an actor.
It feels like that's sort of the direction they're trying to go with this show. I have a couple nitpicks that we'll get into when we get more specific about the show, but in general, I'm really liking it. I would definitely recommend this show to audiences who are looking for an easygoing, kind of fun, dramatic summer show. You know, it's hard not to think of in some ways like a Desperate Housewives, especially because Eva's EPing the show. If you like sort of that stupid smart type of TV, it's sort of what I like to call, or silly smart maybe. Yeah. And I also think I might play on this one. Yeah. I think like this is the kind of show, when I finished it, I was like, well, I think I'm going to watch one more at least. So I'm personally a play for this show. Tara, how about you?
I'm a play all day. The second I finished it, I was like, I want to know about the stuff.
Yeah.
No spoilers, but yeah, I want to get into
There's
it.
stuff.
There's stuff that goes down,
stuff.
and it's great.
J-Lo, do you think you'll watch another one?
I definitely do want to watch another one, give it another chance, and see what else they can add to it on the second episode. Definitely excited for that.
Well, we appreciate your thoughts, J-Lo, and very valuable to have your opinion on this show. Thank you. Okay, so we are going to talk a bit about this cast. It is led by, I want to say Damian, even though it's Demian.
Oh.
All of these actors are very well known in the world of Spanish-speaking television, which is so cool that Eva created a naturalistic feeling environment for all these incredible actors to thrive and kind of make that crossover jump.
Right.
That's something I got to applaud ABC for too, because with Quantico they kind of brought Priyanka Chopra into the main stage. Of course, with all of Shonda's shows, they do a great job of really featuring not white people in a way that feels natural. So I think this show's doing that really well. He's also an EP on the show. Oh, this is great. We'll just pull up this photo. That's a perfect way to feature the cast. We also, Damien Bashir, as I mentioned, is also an EP on the show, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
It's always nice when you see one or two actors who have that above the line.
He's so good.
He's great. But I don't think he's nearly as good as Rosalind Sanchez, who is just great.
She's fantastic. I mean, and her name fits her perfectly. Gigi.
Yes, she's playing Gigi Mendoza, his second wife. We don't necessarily know a ton of the history of his first wife, but it seems dicey.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it is about this actress, but she's just so good on the show.
Oh, yeah, and she's stunning to watch.
Yeah.
And, yeah... I don't know. She has that like sexy vibe, but it's natural. Like where you're like, you're not acting, you're just sexy.
It's nice. Sometimes it gets frustrating when you see very, very attractive actors and you're like, did you earn this role?
Right.
But with her, she's obviously one of the most stunning actresses working today, but she's also very talented.
Yeah, she's really good.
I wonder if Eva Longoria wanted to have played that part.
I thought the exact same thing. I was like, did Eva just go out and like find a miniature, like not a miniature version of her, but like another version, and just was like, you do it, because they remind me of each other.
For sure. I mean, it's the kind of thing where you're an actress.
Yeah.
They would probably show up at a lot of the same auditions, right? They're
Oh,
the same
100%.
categories.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that she's not performing on the show at all.
I agree, because I thought like Eva could have taken this role and done it like obviously really well.
Yeah.
But seeing that she's slated to, as you were telling me, to direct in a few episodes that we're gonna see, I'm like, cool. She's moving into like production and directing, which I think is a good move for an actor.
We also have Denise Tance and Brian Craig playing Alicia and Javi Mendoza, their two children. But of course, they have step siblings as well, who are the daughters of Rosalind Sanchez. That would be Feliz Ramirez and Justina Ordano as Carolina and Yoli. I think they're doing their job too, you know?
Yeah.
All of these actors are giving us what we need.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Carolina and Yoli, we were the sisters. I hated them right off the bat. From the first sentence that when they speak, when Alicia comes up to them, I'm like, I don't like them. And then it was more established as to who they are. And I was like, got it. Evil stepsisters.
Evil stepsisters. Fun to see Wendy Raquel Robinson, who, of course, has been doing TV for just so long.
For a long time.
She's been in a couple times. She's great. She's playing sort of the overseer of the downstairs staff, we'll call them.
Yeah.
And finally, Lincoln Eunice as Danny, who is the eye candy of the show.
Oh, yeah. So many abs, like we were saying
So many
earlier.
abs. It's a 12-pack on that guy, I think.
It might be 18. I don't know. He's really pushing it.
But he's also turning in a nice performance.
Oh, he's good. Yeah, he's great. Totally believable.
Yeah.
I really liked him, and there's some surprises in there that I didn't expect to see from him that I really enjoyed.
I think there are versions of this character where it's like, well, you found this guy on Instagram, but I feel like,
totally.
yeah, but he earned his part. I think.
I think he did. At least in this pilot episode, in the beginning, I was like, okay, and then I was like, oh, by the middle and the end, I was like, I get it.
Let's talk a bit about the development of the show, because it's interesting. As we mentioned a couple times, Eva was the one who brought this to the network. It's been cool to see as a producer what she's really been pushing to bring to TV. She had a well-received show that just ended up not grabbing the audience it wanted to, called Telenovela. It was a multicam sitcom based around producing an over-the-top Spanish sitcom. And then there's this show too, so it's cool to see her pushing like heavily Latin entertainment in a way to try to bring that flavor of culture to American audiences.
I think she needed that fail to know that there was a happy medium here, and she found Grand Hotel.
That's a great way to put it. And this show has a long development history as well. So it aired initially as a Spanish show, and kind of more of a, like J-Lo mentioned, J-Lo is our producer who spoke earlier, sort of a more heightened version of that show. They were adapting the Spanish TV series Gran Hotel, which is similarly obviously based. But this pilot was written by Brian Tannen, who's also set to EP the show and showrun. Eva's production company, Unbelievable Entertainment, is producing it. And there's a full season order, so we'll see what happens. This is interesting too. So Ramon Campos and Teresa Fernandez Valdez, who produced the original Spanish series, are also EPing the show with this showrunner.
Oh, okay. So they combined forces.
They combined forces.
So even when the Spanish one didn't work, they were like, let's move over and make the American version happen?
Actually, I think the Spanish one might be
still going. It's still going.
And
okay.
I think it's on Netflix, maybe not territorially for us.
I think you're right, because when I spoke into my TV, my Fire Stick, there was a couple options that turned up for Grand Hotel, and I think one of them was the Spanish version.
The Spanish one?
Yeah.
I think, again, this one has a different tone and flavor, but it's nice to see that they're honoring the original by bringing on above-the-line talent from that show to come onto this show. It's just good to see this is how it should be done.
Yes, the poster pick is definitely, I think, the same.
Yeah, that's good. So that's most of the development history of the show, but there's been kind of a lot of iterations of this, and classic America, taking other people's culture and trying to claim it as
trying to make it, yeah.
I think the only other thing we'll do right now is sort of other shows that we would compare this to, and then we'll get into our spoiler section. But I do think it feels like a classic summer network show. It's hard for me not to think of like a Desperate Housewives.
Yeah, it is. I don't know why I was going to say Grey's Anatomy.
There's
something
drama,
about
right?
That drama
and the status, right? Of high status people dating
and
low status
people. And that when it like combines, you're like, no, but then they're like, yes, I want it.
Yeah, it's like the surgeon dating the intern. In this case, would be the hotel manager dating the waiter.
Exactly.
So I think that's a fair comparison.
Yeah.
Both ABC. There was a show on Lifetime called Devious Maids that I think has some similarities to this too. Of underclass people trying to get theirs.
I never watched it, but I'm excited to see what these people get in this show.
We will see. And so that's basically our overall thoughts on the show.
Yeah.
If you don't want to hear any more, now's the time to tune out because we are getting into our spoiler section.
Hey.
Burp, spoiler alert. Burp, spoiler alert. We might be having a soundboard fail, which is totally fine.
Hi, Supa Chai. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. Loved last Monday's episode.
There it is.
There's a spoiler alert.
I think that's our very own Sam Swampaboot, who I know is a fan of our network. He says he liked the show.
Yeah,
Great.
he liked it.
If you have any other thoughts on that, please let us know.
He wants AfterBuzz to cover the show.
The good news is some of these pilots we haven't decided yet. It's very likely we will be covering this as an after show, so stay tuned for future episodes. Okay. A lot of twists in this show. Getting into some specifics, what in particular did you like about this pilot?
Oh, man. The drama in between families and the one-line slingers that they give each other of just in one line when a mom says and introduces her two twins and she's like, they're fraternal, obviously. Yeah. I'm like, who says that? Right. And I get all heated. The way that they set up the characters is really, really great. And I love Alicia. You fall in love with the characters who you need to fall in love with. That's pretty easy. But also the drama, there wasn't a lot of exposition, which I thoroughly enjoyed in regards to there's a murder that happened or a girl that disappeared. Like, they do bring it up, sure, but there wasn't a lot like A, B, C, here's what happened, and let's remind the audience yet again that a girl disappeared. You own the hotel, we're trying to sell it. It just seemed like it flowed pretty easily, and they kind of trusted the audience to be smart. Again, they give you a lot of information, but maybe smarter than trusted the audience a little bit more than other ABC shows I've watched.
I think that's a great analysis. When you look at all the plots that this pilot is managing, there's the fact that he's married to a second wife and the family drama that creates between the two generations underneath. There's the fact that one of those generations is presumably falling into a business-only type of marriage. I thought that was a really interesting twist. The way that was handled, I thought was kind of spicy. And there's this whole subplot of sort of the underlings of the staff being oppressed by the high-status people in the hotel. There's a pregnancy storyline that I thought was handled in a pretty interesting way.
Yes.
There's the waiter who's hitting on the cultural elite of the hotel.
Yeah.
There's a rapper who's interested in dating the thicker half of the twins. I just think there was 5 or 6 plots being juggled in this pilot, and they all felt earned.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I loved all of them. And also, Javi, like the brother, he's like the hooker-upper.
Yeah.
I love just his whole thing, and also his backstory of like that they threw in that like his dad is so awful to him, and you're like, give your son a break. Like, he doesn't have a leg. I get that he's acting out, but like, because you're a jerk to him, and then you find out like it's his fault. We don't know why yet, but that it's his dad's fault that he doesn't have his leg anymore, which we'll eventually find out, which I thought was very interesting.
A little ridiculous, but interesting.
Very, very much so. But I was like, that's the telenovela side.
Exactly.
Right? That I was like, yeah, dad's responsible.
We're not watching True Detective right now.
No, we're
not.
not.
We're watching Grand Hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think all of this is working. And I even think, like, the character of Mrs. P, who's Wendy Raquel Robinson's character.
The ball buster.
She's given something to do. And that doesn't usually happen in network pilots. And I that also leads to some of my criticism, where there were times when each of these 10 characters felt like they were maybe a little too cleanly fitting into pilot stereotypes, which to a certain extent you have to do, right?
Yeah.
But moments that were a little frustrating for me, maybe, when she's interviewing
Danny.
Thank you, Danny, to become the waiter, and she goes, I don't know why, but I just don't like you.
Yeah.
That's one of those moments where you're like, oh, I could use a little more, you know, as a viewer than just like, I don't like you for no generic reason.
Exactly.
There was maybe 3 or 4 moments where I was like, I think one more pass on this script could have given us 10% more interesting information. But they had a lot to do in this pilot.
Yeah, especially because Miss P does run into Danny again in the hallway later, and it's just yet again the same thing of like, I know I told you I don't like you, and I still kind of don't, but you're getting a pass because Mr. Mendoza likes you. Where really we could have gotten a little gold there, a little nugget of like, here's why, because I have more information now. Because we did catch her on the phone, but we still don't know what she found out. And I would have preferred they drop it in a way that like keeps us hooked.
Right.
Of like, here's your thing, and da-da-da, and now we're like, wait, what?
Is that really it?
Yeah, and then move on, right?
Yeah. Even just a couple of lines that were obviously driving story that I think could have been spiced up. There was one moment when Javi's character, I think his sister's like, you've probably, had sex with half the people here? And he's like, I guess that could be. Like, I think there's like a pass there where he's like, maybe only 25% of the people. Give me a break. Like,
yeah.
Like maybe like put one comedy writer in that room to spice it up a little bit.
Exactly.
But that's okay. I mean, I'm being nitpicky because overall this was a solid pilot.
Hey, I get it. He did have one good line, which is not necessarily a funny line, but the way that it was delivered of when Gigi walks up and Javi and Alicia just found out their dad's selling the hotel. And Gigi's like, hey, can we all calm down? He's like, why are you talking right now? Which I loved because I just was like, yes. I love that moment.
The one comedic moment for me that I thought played pretty well, and I do have to credit Brian Craig as Javi in this moment, was he's an amputee on the show. And the woman he's hitting on, how did that happen? And he goes, fought in Afghanistan. Yeah. And I thought it was pretty well performed.
Yeah. Oh, it was great.
I mean, I think for the most part, there's only so much analysis you can do with a show like this. I do have to appreciate, I think there's a lot of versions of this show where you're looking at the cultural elite and it's sometimes stratified by race. But in this show, what I appreciate is there are white, Latin, and black characters who are high class, and there are white, black, and Latin characters who are low class. And oftentimes in network pilots like this, certain races occupy the upper echelons of society and certain races occupy the lower echelons of society. And this show is very actively working to push back against that notion because you have people of color all over this social. In fact, the only white guy is a low status character on this show.
Yep.
Which is very appreciated as a viewer.
Yeah, it's great. Also, just one line I had to throw out by Byron, the guy who's part of the Wong Fu development, who's supposed to buy the hotel. I love this line of just, my friends can't believe how hot you are.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait for just like, if a guy ever said that to me. I just think it's the worst line, but also there are a lot of moments that are like that'll make you yell at the TV of like, what the F?
Yeah.
Which I thoroughly enjoyed. Like, they kind of get you like, what?
Yeah, it's those moments that quickly characterize these people.
Yes, that you realize like, oh, what a jerk.
Yeah, what a tool.
Tool is right. It's a good word for it.
Any other thoughts on some of the specifics of this pilot?
I really loved the moment with Jason and Ingrid. And Ingrid is feeling sick. She's crying, and they have a moment where he takes her into the room and is like, "This is what I do to make me feel better. Act like I'm on vacation." And I thought it was just a really adorable moment. I know there was a little more info towards the end of it when he's like, I would love, like a pregnant housekeeper, if it was me type deal, which it was a little corny, but for some reason in that moment, I really loved it, and I loved their relationship. I love that they got right to it, where it's obviously Jason loves Ingrid. Ingrid's involved with Mateo, and he's a jerk, and, like, that's not going to work out, and now you just got drama everywhere.
Yeah, they did a great job of, again, justifying all these characters. The twist with Ingrid that I loved was when she recognizes the opportunity to exploit Javi's man-whorishness by potentially incriminating him as the father. That was like such a juicy moment.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, I loved it too, because he deserved it.
Yeah, he deserves it. You can't be too much of a man-ho, or it's going to come back to bite you. Yeah, I mean, I think overall it sounds like we're both really liking this pilot.
Oh, yeah. I think it's great. I honestly can't wait to watch more and see what happens with Yolanda and El Rey, which will probably be maybe nothing, but because her sister's a real jerk. But, yeah, I really liked all of the moments, and I feel like in the next episodes I'll still be like, what the heck? And I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, I hope they keep the ball rolling.
Me too.
Yeah, I hope it stays nicely in the lane it's already occupying. I'm glad you mentioned El Rey. He's playing the artist in residence, presumably for this hotel. He's the Lady Gaga of Grand Hotel in Miami. He's played by Giancarlo Canela.
Okay.
Who is a very famous Spanish-speaking like pop artist / hip-hop artist. So again, cool crossover moment for him to be playing an
actual pop star in the...
Yeah. I'm sure that's fun for the Latin viewers who recognize what he's doing.
Yeah, and he does a pretty good job.
Yeah,
I wonder if that's some real-life pull or if he's acting.
I was super excited to see him.
Great.
I love him.
You do?
You're familiar with him, J-Lo.
I'm
Can
a
you
big fan.
describe sort of what kind of cultural space he occupies in the Spanish-speaking world?
He started off as an actor, and then he went on to do music. He's a very good singer, very good actor.
Okay.
He's done a couple of telenovelas, of course, and movies as well. He actually started in that series with Eva Longoria novellas, I believe, the one that she did prior.
Great.
He actually was one of the main characters as well.
Cool. Is he kind of like a Justin Timberlake type? Would you say? Because acting and singing? Okay. Cool. Well, we really appreciate that insight.
He's also very handsome. There was like parts where I was like, oh, he seems like a jerk, like a rock star. But then at the end, when Alicia was talking to him, being like, do a concert, and I was like, the camera was on him, and I was like, he's really handsome. Something happened that everyone on the show, right? But just at one point in time, you will fall in love with each and every character and just be like, they're way too outrageously good looking. I can't.
It helps because when people are this like conniving and unlikable, they get a pass because they're so hot.
They're so cute.
It's not fair, but it's
it is what it is.
Do you watch 30 Rock at all?
Yeah.
Okay,
it's been a while, but yeah.
John Hamm has an arc in that show where he's so handsome he can do anything he wants. It's like the handsome pass. I think a lot of these characters, they're just really good looking.
They have them. Everybody has them.
They've all got that pass.
Except for, I think, a little bit of Mateo at the end, because first of all, he's like the meanest one, where we didn't really get to know him, but he was the one that obviously got Ingrid pregnant, and he's like, I'm going to pay for you to go to this thing, and it'll be fine, because he's that high status character in control of basically everything. We find out at the end, he's in control of the money, which is in control of the whole world there. He is like the one character that I'm like, it doesn't, even if he has that little shine on him, I'm like, I hate you.
Well, he hasn't taken off his shirt yet, Tara. So
I know. Yeah, I might change my mind next week.
Depending on the number of abs he earns points.
That's true.
Look at us objectifying all these people. Boy. I'm sorry, but the show did it first.
Whatever.
Right?
It calls for it.
It's a summer show. This is exactly what we're asking for.
It's a summer.
I know. It's a summer show. But I have to applaud it. It's a solid pilot. It's doing exactly what it set out to do, and I have to champion Eva for making it happen.
Hey, girl. Hey, me too. I'm totally into it. I think and I cannot wait for episode 3, where the one she directed. I'm so excited to see how that might change either the characters, or if maybe there'll be some different like camera moves or setups. A lot of times these, like the network shows, they all look the same, especially from episode 1 to, but depending upon the director, sometimes you'll see a little bit of like artist spice in there.
Little twist.
So
I hear you. That'd be nice to see what Eva brings.
Yeah.
I hope she makes a small on-camera appearance.
Yeah, me too.
I hope she shows up in one or two.
I agree.
A la Tina Fey and Kimmy Schmidt.
Yes.
How she'll make those like little appearances.
In and out.
Exactly, in and out.
I'm into
cheeseburger.
it.
Yeah. Okay, so good news for you guys who liked this pilot. We will be covering it here on the network on Monday evenings at 8 p.m., so make sure you tune into our AfterBuzz TV Dramas channel. That's 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. So the show airs at 10. That's the soonest we can do it for you guys. So I know it's late, but the show airs late. It's late night summer soapiness. The last thing we're going to do before we make our way out of here is rate this pilot out of 5. What'd you think, Tara?
I'm going to give it 4.5. Totally into it. Can't wait to watch the other episode. Fun, fun, fun. Just like sit in front of the TV and be like, I'm ready to have a good time.
Great. I'm going to give it a 4.1 because I agree with all the things you said, but I think there were moments when I thought one more pass on the script could have just made it a little spicier.
I agree.
But the bones of a great show are all here. So we'll have to see what happens, and we will be tuning in.
Yeah, I will be.
And we hope that you guys continue to tune in to TV pilot reviews here on AfterBuzz TV. Real quick, in case you guys didn't know what our network does, we are the ESPN of TV talk, and we cover just about everything on television on our other channels. So this is our featured channel right now, but we have a channel devoted to dramas. We have a channel devoted to reality TV, sci-fi, soaps, animated shows, comedies. We cover just about everything here at
Whatever
the network.
you need,
so
we've got it.
subscribe to this channel right now, guys, if you would, but check out some of our other channels. And most importantly, if you guys wanted to hop on iTunes and give us 5 stars, that would really, really be helpful. I've been checking out our iTunes reviews, and we could use a little love. I'm going to just say it that way. So if you guys give us 5 stars, we will read your review on air. And if you put your social media handle, we'll go ahead and shout you out.
Yes.
Because we know how important social media is.
That's so fun.
It's so fun. Tara Erickson, where can they find you on?
You guys can find me on youtube.com/Tara Erickson. That's TaraErickson. And also at Tara Erickson on Instagram, at the Tara Erickson on Twitter, or just Google me. Just type my name in there. Do the deal. Say hi.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at Jeffrey C. Graham. I'm sure there's a big demo crossover with people who like this show and The Bachelorette because they're airing in the same time block, and I'm mortified and very proud to admit that I cover that show here at the network. If you want to see me absolutely lose my mind, it happened on the most recent After show.
Ooh.
My co-host and I got into about the biggest giggle fit you've ever seen on TV. We just couldn't continue with the show, so check it out. That's Mondays at 7 p.m. You can view it on our reality channel now. Until next time, guys. This
Say
has
your
been,
words.
Yeah, TV pilot reviews. We review a new pilot every week, so let us know in the comments what you'd like to see us cover, or if not, we'll pick it for you. And we're live at 5 p.m. Pacific on AfterBuzz TV, so check us out on Wednesdays. We'll see you then, and thanks for tuning in.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.